thank Indus Foundation for giving us this opportunity. It's a fantastic event that happens at several places in India. I think I've been associated thanks to Anumolu and then Dr. Arha for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. And maybe this is the second time I'm addressing a session. The last one, I guess, was in 2015. Okay. Maybe at the same place, I don't remember, but then, yes. Okay. And I have, in fact, two introductions. One is, of course, by the moderator today, and also there was another introduction which has come from my namesake, Mr. K.V. Satyanarayana, when he talked about, the collaboration with IICT. So IICT and the government of Andhra Pradesh have been, working together in some areas, especially in the area of, skill development. So on the left, you have, the logo of CSIR, which has completed its 75 years. CSIR touching lives, that's what we say. And of course, Indus Foundation is there. And IICT is the one at the right, that's where, I belong to. I just, go through, introduction about, CSIR and IICT, what type of work that we do. More important, I look at, what are the industry-friendly collaborations that we have. And we also believe in, co-development, not just, going alone, but then we believe in co-development. So what are the models that we have when we try to co-develop, innovations? And also, partnering some of the corporate social responsibilities initiatives, which includes, skill development, some of the technologies that we have, and of course, the academic collaborations. Okay. Yeah. Well, CSIR has a pan-India presence. It has got about 37 labs. And the vision, if you see, it has not changed over years because it has always been, towards transdisciplinary sciences and industrial research. And mainly, we look at innovation-driven industry. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, nurture transdisciplinary leadership. And also, we try to look at, catalyzing inclusive economic development. And we are there, CSIR, for about 75 years in the Indian innovation space. Okay. And if you look at the type of expertise that CSIR has, 37 labs, you can just name an area and then you find it there, be it aerospace, be it agro-food processing, be it biology and biotechnology, ecology, okay, earth sciences, electronics, instrumentation, chemical sciences, where about 9 labs are working, including IICT. Okay. And the number of products which have come out of it, this is just a snapshot. One of them is, right at the top, you find that Amul is there. And many of us grew up, taking Amul milk. And at the bottom, when there was an answer, when there was, this outbreak of AZT in India, we gave an answer. That is, IICT has given a very, very, very attractive, alternative to the medicines, so available at a very, very low cost. So these have been some of the innovations that have come out over 75 years. Okay. And as I said that, CSIR works in diverse areas, and these have been, very well captured by the Pradhan Mantri when CSIR was celebrating its 75th, Platinum Jubilee. So right from agriculture to aerospace, biosensors to biopharmaceuticals, chemicals to climate change, drug development to deep sea explorations, and so on. The list is there, So what it actually means is we encompass whatever innovation space that is there, and this we have been doing it for 75 years. Okay. And as the 75 years Platinum Jubilee, the logo says, we have been touching lives, especially when it comes to enabling industry, or looking at defense and space. Well, people do remember a Mangalyaan happening, but then when a Mangalyaan happens, what happens is the adhesives, the sealants, the materials, the fuel, okay, the electronics, the sensors, many of them come from CSIR. Okay. So we are also into producing globally competitive knowledge base. Especially I can tell about organic synthesis, where IICT has been consistently rated as the top 3 institutions in the world. And CSIR as such has been placed as I think 19th in the world in the global arena of publicly funded organizations, which runs more than about 200. And of course, we are there for societal products as well. Okay. Then about IICT, we have been partnering innovations in various spheres, be it drugs, agrochemicals, value-added services, fine chemicals, and other areas. So if you look at the achievements, especially when it comes to healthcare, for any therapeutical, for any therapeutical area as well as generics, we have been, our footprint has been very large. We have given good number of these generics almost at a throwaway price. Okay? So much so that today, if you ask me what are the documentation that you have, I'll say that sorry, we don't have that. Those days, the idea was only to give. Similarly, in agriculture, all the pesticides, recently there was a very nice letter written by the Pesticide Manufacturers Association to the Prime Minister saying that about 50% of the agrochemicals or the pesticide industry depends on the technologies which IICT has given. Another intervention is in food, and those of you who know about rice bran oil, which is a very heart-friendly oil, today about more than 50% of water is being produced in India comes from the technology which IICT has pioneered. In energy sector, we have made huge installations, 900 tons per day installations. Strategic sector, we have been at the forefront in trying to develop technologies, which alternatives to ozone depleting technologies. And of course, HR, that's where, all of you are here. We have been giving, quality manpower in terms of, PhDs, MScs, and MTechs, and others to the nation. So this is, a snapshot of our interventions in healthcare. So you find that for any therapeutical area, we have a solution, and then a technology has been transferred. Now we are also going into discovery research. One thing is generics, where we try to, make a molecule and the process, less cost effective. But then we are also now going into discovery research, where we are trying to come out with new molecules which show some activity towards a disease. So for this, we have created a national mold bank facility. So those who work in molecules, you can also come and store your molecules in our place. Agrochemicals, this is what I said, about 50,000 tons per annum installed capacity we have. This was in the year 2001. Now we have come out with alternate to pesticides in the form of pheromones. So these, field trials are carrying out about 25,000 hectares of field trials we have carried out. So this is where we're trying to push hard with the governments, including the government of Andhra Pradesh, government of Gujarat. So hopefully these governments will come forward, because this is one area where the pest management needs to be an integrated pest management. Okay. So these are not pesticides that you spray. These are some chemicals which attract or throw the pests into disarray, so that you stop breeding. So that's the technology that we have, very eco-friendly technology. Okay. Clean coal energy we have. We are also looking at biofuels and bioenergy, the new generation, and we are the nodal agency for Indo-US consortium on biofuels. Similarly, also a nodal agency for biomass conversion to energy. Okay. So with this, I'll try to talk about what type of models that we have. Okay. We have been talking of Make in India, where we invite the multinationals to come and then open their shop here and then manufacture, so that it gives rise to good employment. So we are also in line with this. We say that come and innovate in India. So we have thrown open our doors open for multinationals. So we have companies like DuPont or Chemours who work in these fluoro compounds. Similarly, we also have Colgate Palmolive when it comes to personal care or dental care units. So many of you, when you smile and then you make use of Colgate, you please do remember that some of the molecules have indeed come from IICT. Okay. Now another model that we have is that we try to give, when an industry comes to us, we give total integrated solutions. What we mean by that is, right from bench scale to the pilot scale to the commercial scale, we give the whole range of the package, so that the industry person doesn't need to go anywhere else. Okay. So that's the type of model that we have. This is one example of hydrogen hydrate, which is totally imported, and China is the only one which makes this particular compound. There's a large demand for this, about 200,000 tons per annum, and we have made this technology, and then we are transferred to Gujarat government, and very soon about 10,000 tons per annum would be coming up. There's still, the demand is still large, okay? Because India itself imports about 30 to 40,000 tons per annum. Okay? Another model that we have is as I said, the integrated solutions. What we mean is right from the starting material to the product at the other end, we try to give an integrated solution. It could be backward integration, it could be forward integration. Like say for example, in this particular example, PTBT is one compound which by itself has got a lot of demand, but then going down, it can also come out with these methyl esters. Okay, so if a client wants methyl ester, we'll also try to give him technologies right from PTBT level to the ester. So this PTBT can also go into lilialdehyde. So that also we give such technology, integrated technologies. Now we are also looking at developing incubation parks, science parks. So this is one example where we are working very closely with the government of Andhra Pradesh, especially in developing this GKS Lepakshi Biotechnology Park. And then by August, I think Satyanarayana Garu will be able to come out with the base document, because the deadline for this is by December this park has to come up. So these are the things that we work, and then as I said, the co-development business models are there. I'll not go much into it, but except to say that if you want the client to come to you, you must have very swift and very simple process and no bureaucratic hassles. For us, the scientist has the ultimate say. Director only endorses it. Okay, we don't have to go to headquarters or anything. If the scientists say yes, the director endorses. That's the type of faith that the director has on the scientists. Okay? And flexible and transparent. Anytime people can come and then say, why is this? And then the transparency is there. Similarly, we also go for participative and supportive approach. These are some of our stakeholders in co-development. Okay? Now, when we talk of co-development partnership, what if you look at a typical this performance curve, technology performance curve, initially there will be a very slow uptake. Later on, it rises, and then at some stage, it reaches a plateau, right? This is a typical sleeping S curve, as they call it. Okay? So we find, we try to give opportunities for everyone and anyone, anywhere during this sleeping S curve. So what it actually means is, generally, if you look at big players, they would be interested in looking or taking the technology when there is a sharp rise, right? Okay. Any business person, if he wants to make sense, he will actually take up, co-development activity when it comes to when the performance is rising with the time and effort. Okay. But then what we also do is to look at small time people who have the passion to work right at the initial stage, the startups, the incubators. We do hand holding, so that they can take up this, develop the concept, and then see that there's funding available so that they can graduate and then go to a bigger stage. Similarly, also when the curve matures, when there's not much performance improvement when it comes to time and effort, so that's where we say MSMEs are there. Okay, these MSMEs, because they don't have the wherewithal to understand the technology, okay, and also the type of resources that are required to deploy. So we catch hold of these MSMEs and then we give the technologies to them. So this way, a number of technologies have come. So that's where we disseminate into dissemination to MSME. And there's also another critical area which is called the valley of death. So this curve tells you what is our technology readiness level. And technology readiness level, those of you might know, is divided on a 1 to 9 scale, where 9 means that it is almost ready. Whereas 1 is, it's still, at a takeoff stage. Maybe the proof of concept has not been established. Okay? So generally, most of the models that we have, be it in, academics, especially, teaching institutes or, research institutes, because we all depend on DST funding. Okay? When it comes to Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology funding, the funding that you receive will be sufficient to come up to TRL 3 or 4, right? We all know that. So there, but then when you want to see that it translates into a commodity or a product, the industry says, sorry, you are at TRL 3, I want something which is at TRL 6. Okay. Now, who will actually bridge this gap? Then that's the reason most of the work that we do in universities, we come out with a good completion report. The Science and Technology Ministry or the DBT, they're very happy with that. And then you put a close to that and then try to look around and then see which other proposal can I push to the DST for funding. Okay. So this has been taken up, and then both DST, DBT and CSIR have noted this, and then fortunately now there is a funding scheme available to bridge this gap. Okay. So this valley of death needs to be overcome. So what these schemes actually do is, they say that you rope in an industry partner. The money will be granted to the industry for taking this up. Okay, for bringing it to that scale, some money will also be given to the academic institutions. Okay, so some of you might have already have this such type of model, but then just to recapitulate, or just to give you a glimpse, these are some of the schemes that you have in hand, where you can bridge the gap, go from cross over the valley of death, and see that your technology is actually indeed translatable. It started with actually the Council of Scientific Industrial Research, NIMITLI, it's called NIMITLI program, but these days let me tell you, BIRAC is the one which is very, very proactive, mainly because unlike the other schemes which largely dependent or are based on the ministry itself, BIRAC is one which is a Section 25 company. So it could be, that could be the reason, or Dr. Renu Swarup, by nature being a professional that she is, BIRAC is these days is is something which is showing weight to others. Okay. Now in co-development partnerships, we also have public-private partnerships. There are two examples that we have done at IICT itself, where there are two multinationals which have come up. One is Evolvo Biotech. This is a Swiss-based company. So while they were good at genomics, they were looking at solutions in the chemical genomics area. So that's chemistry is where we are very strong. IICT has been very strong.